Pile 2 is red jasper. Red jasper. All right, let's see. Okay. First card is Eight of Swords. No, it wasn't in the reverse. Eight of Swords. So swords are symbolic of our, it's like a weapon. It can either be a weapon of the intellect or a tool, to combat intrusive thoughts, or to like sever, how we perceive ourselves in the mental realm, or perceive the world. So this energy is really coming in, and this person's being kind of like held hostage in a way. Their body's bonded, their eyes are bonded, and they're almost like wrapped in this like cage of the swords. So if we're thinking about the full moon, this is really encouraging you to go inward. So because the bondage is around the eyes, it's really pointing to, closing your eyes, kind of separating from the outside world, separating from like the character that you play, the roles that you play, the narrative that you hold based on how other people perceive you and what they tell you, who you are, all these things. It's asking you to like let go of that and really go inward and really do a lot of evaluating in that internal kind of landscape. It's also pointing to like encouraging you to slow down. You're kind of moving through murky, unstable grounds right now, perhaps. And really what this is encouraging you to do is like stop trying to distract yourself through constant movement, through overworking yourself, through just like thrusting yourself into like jobs and duties and kind of busy work, because that's really just contributing to these like the overactivity of the mind. So it's really just encouraging you to slow down and consider stopping to really investigate what it is that's kind of fueling that response of just fleeing. It's like I'm getting just like fleeing energy. It's pointing out like you can be either the victim of your mind, or you can be empowered and be in control of the mind, right? And that takes a lot of practice, and that's what this is really encouraging you to do at this time is, use this full moon energy to like notice how much your mind just really gets the best of you, right? And to really just sit with that as much as you can, or get more in the body, right? And out of the mind, because although the mind really has the power to like shape reality, it's important to like incorporate balance and not live there too long, and to kind of play with different kind of avenues of experiencing reality, right? So getting in the body, slowing down, not necessarily engaging in reality in the same repetitive, overindulged way that you do, and get curious about other ways that you can tap into, certain feelings or sensory experiences that don't require you to just work yourself to this exhaustive state, right? Or or receive love, affirmation, validation, or all these things we get from, relationships. How can you maybe, by changing your routine and changing how you show up in the world and how you move through the world, how can you tap into those same energies in a way that won't require you to have to just like give so much of that mental energy. Your second card is security in reverse. So security really helps us to point out that although we are of this, like, although we're here on Earth, although we, we've had to survive and we've had to evolve in a lot of ways, we're also of the greater universe. We also we hold so much generational awareness, so much generational just understanding that it's just a vessel waiting to be tapped into. So point being, if you're feeling like you're standing on murky, unstable grounds, this really wants to help you notice that like there's a divine purpose in that, and that your sense of security is shifting and changing. And ultimately, what is most important for you to feel secure in, and hold on tightest to, is your sense of self, and who you are, again, beneath all those labels and beneath all the roles that you play. Because those are, the roles and the labels and these things are, they're like man-made. They're like they're conditions of the mind, most certainly. They're conditions of just life. So this is encouraging you to consider, like, do not get fucked up by conditions of reality that do not hold the powerful, potent, ancestral wisdom and power that you do. You're not of that job. Like, you're not of those roles. You play those roles. You choose, we choose to play these roles and like play these characters, but absolutely do not derive your sense of self from those things. We do in some ways, right? What we fulfill and what we do in life does reinforce that purpose and kind of remind us like, oh, this is who I am because I give myself in this way, or because I do this work, right? It's a part of me, and that's okay. I think that's healthy, but your sense of security really comes in the form of remembering that at the end of the day, aside and away from all these distractions, all this mental chatter, that the external world does get into our psyche, right? Like, away from all those things, who are you, and who do you want to be, and what is your soul purpose, right? Like, beneath all these things, like, what do you actually want to do in this life? Where do you feel connected to? Do you really feel connected, and are you building a foundation of security in a job, or in a relationship, or in, with things, like just materialistic things? What kind of fuels that sense of purpose and security in you? And only you know that. So again, like, this full moon is really kind of illuminating that for you, and encouraging you to really consider that. And and just don't be afraid. Like, don't fear. And if you are feeling fear, if you are feeling like, oh my God, I'm so overwhelmed with just life right now, then you're doing it right. Like, you're living life, and you're kind of fighting the good fight. So don't fear that. Don't run. And really, that's what this sword energy is saying, is like, there ain't nowhere to run to. You just got to stop. Like, life is really not trying to freak you the fuck out. It's not trying to, you have to take responsibility for running and fleeing, right? And we flee reality all the time. We do it, through social media. Like, that's all escapism. And we all do it. But right now, again, like, this energy is really supporting you to just notice how you're doing that, and try to incorporate some balance in that. And if the feeling of escaping is really coming up a lot for you because of what's going on in your life, consider shifting how you engage in escapism. Consider creating almost like a circle of security for yourself, a space of security that you can escape to, right? That, again, doesn't just keep perpetuating these external forces and ideas and perceptions of who that person or that job or this culture thinks that you should be, and create that for yourself and define that for yourself. Your third card is the Youth. This is one of my favorites. Inner child, healing past trauma. So, like what we talked about with the security card, that energy is really trying to remind you that, like, you have a whole team of ancestors behind you. You have a whole team of the people that came before you, who, had their roles too. your parents, your grandparents, the uncles, like the whole tribe, right? Kind of that tribe mentality. And so this youth is coming in to remind you, you know, you are someone's child. You're your great 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 grandmother's child. You know, like they're looking down on you, and you are held, and you are you know, you are a child of God. You are a child of this ever expanding universe, and you are divinely supported. So whatever you choose, know that, you know, a lot of our ancestors and people that came before us maybe didn't have that opportunity, didn't have that kind of choice, right? Or and just the circumstances that they were living in and how things unfolded. They weren't given that opportunity to really tap into that divine kind of connection, that ancestral kind of just lineage, right? And notice like and take that power over their life. But here you are, right? Here you are given that divine opportunity to really do that work. And so the youth is coming in as like, even though you're here now and you're, you know, perhaps an adult or a young adult or whatever, you know, and you have all your debt, and you, you know, you clock into your job, and maybe you have children, like meaning the adult kind of way of life, whatever. Just because you do all those things, again, a lot of those are like conditions of the Western world of being a professional adult and whatever, but ultimately you're still, you're probably moving through a lot of like inner child healing, right? I mean, I don't know about you, but like being out here as an adult, it's like there's so many things that I'm noticing and that I'm being confronted with that actually have so much to do with my inner child and how I was raised or how I was parented, and it's forcing me to really confront that and kind of get curious about that as a means of healing, because as children we don't have any control, right? Or autonomy as far as like what's decided for us and all these things. So inner child healing past trauma energy is coming in to help you feel safe in where you are now, helping to encourage you to consider, you know, maybe rebuilding your sense of security, because perhaps your security was rocky, was unstable, was unsafe. You didn't have a strong foundation of, you know, a safety net perhaps as a child. And while we can't go back and change that, you have so much power now and autonomy now to build up. So you might be feeling right now powerless. You might not feel confident in your life and feel like all these outside forces and labels and jobs like give you that sense of security that you maybe didn't have. And that's valid. There's no right or wrong about that. I think the energy is just pointing to like, it's time to redefine what it means to have a foundation of security for you. And really the inner child comes in and is helping you to feel and notice what it is that maybe you don't want in a secure relationship or a secure attachment with yourself or someone else or a job or these things you put yourself in. It's helping you notice what you don't want and what you have experienced in the past, in order to help kind of propel you and create momentum to change, like literally manifest an entirely different bond and relationship to yourself, to others in the world. And that can be really overwhelming, right? It can be really like overwhelming to really know and decide like that you do have the power to radically change your life and you know, change how you not only define yourself, but like how you give yourself to others and how you give yourself to a job and a profession or education or, you know, whatever it is that you're doing or you do. But in order to like create a new path forward, that if you want to look radically different than your past, then that's really what we're really talking about, is healing past trauma. excuse me, and doing that with intention, doing that with love, and really, again, getting curious about the inner child, getting curious about, yeah, like who you were then. Again, honoring that you're still so much that person, right? You've grown and changed, and you've gotten kind of force fed a lot, and you've gotten, you have gotten squished into the conditions of adulthood, or at least it's trying to get you to like fit into a lot of boxes that maybe you're finding you just don't fit in. So, your fourth card is Embrace the Dark. So again, we have a full moon, so really powerful energy. You're really tapped in to, oh, your fifth card does too. Word. Yeah, you're just really tapped in. You're probably feeling a lot right now. And so Embrace the Dark comes in to remind you again, like, there's nothing to fear, okay? So fear, it's a very real feeling. We all feel it, right? Like, but don't be afraid of what comes up. Like, don't be afraid of what you find, or what you are feeling, or what you're, just like what comes up for you when you're willing to kind of go inward, when you're willing to like take control of the powerful forces of the mind, when you're willing to kind of do a lot of inner child healing work and like remember how it felt to not maybe feel secure, or that your sense of security was really rooted in things that were maybe fleeting, or temporary, or unreliable, right? Like, so there's a possibility that that's going to bring up a lot, but embrace it, right? Like, there's nothing to be afraid of, because you're here now. You've survived. I mean, how resilient. Really try to hold on to your resiliency, and really uplift yourself, and remember, like, I'm embracing this as a means of healing, learning, and integrating into building the life that I really truly want and deserve, and rebuilding my sense of self and my confidence, right? My self-love, rebuilding my, really just like my contract with myself of how I now as an adult, whatever, am gonna like move in the world. Fear is a false illusion appearing real, right? So I think with the full moon right now, it's really again asking you to like, don't get too fucked up by what you're seeing externally. Go internally. Like, the internal world is vast, and it's weird, and it's contradiction. Like, it's all these things, but I think there's just like a plethora of knowledge and information waiting for you there. Your final card is Archangel Haniel. So again, we got a big old full moon. Seek soul satisfaction, fan a flame of inner happiness. Seek soul satisfaction, fan a flame of inner happiness. I mean, I don't know. That's so clear and beautiful. Yeah. Happiness is for you to define. It's for you to kind of manifest and decide. And I think with all of this like inner work that the full moon's helping you kind of just tap into, get curious about, play in, it's helping you, it will help you see that happiness is not, it's either here or it's nowhere, right? It's either in this moment, in your heart, in your mind, in your current perception of reality, in your current foundation of self, or it's nowhere. So this is really helping you to really call back your power and call back your just your autonomy in deciding what does it mean for you to be happy. In fact, like, what does that mean for you at all? If you want a happy life, what does that mean? Because the external forces aren't doing it for you, I think. And literally, what does that look like? What does that feel like? Who gets to be a part of that? Like, all these questions of like literally constructing your own reality. Pretty incredible. Red jasper will help you ground through all this too. So consider finding you a piece. All right. Hope this helps. Good luck.